So, is spirituality more or less necessary in this chapter of my life, and why? The way I would define spirituality, at least in my life in this chapter, is through the human spirit. And as I stated before, I get the privilege of being able to solve problems on a daily basis in my community, the citizens that I serve. And sometimes in those cases, it could be the worst day of someone's life. So not only having the skills to address those problems in a fast and efficient way, but also sometimes just being there as someone that can listen, to that individual. And I'm talking from all ranges of our society, of our communities, from people that are disenfranchised, people that have been forgotten, and being there and treating that person with respect and dignity and hearing their voice, and empathizing with that and being able to help them whatever need that might be, whether that's getting someone services that they might need or getting them that next step in life to get through the day. That to me is such a privilege to be able to do that. And that is what the human spirit is I truly believe is helping other people in times of need and being of value to them in some of the most basic fundamental things that humans need, right? Shelter, a livelihood, a place to eat, a place to stay. These are things that I get to help connect citizens in my community to. And it's really empowering to be able to do that, because I get to solve that problem right then and there and see a difference being made. And that is what drives me. So that is, I would say it's necessary all the time in my life. So
For the fourth question, is spirituality more or less necessary during this chapter of my life, and why? Yes. I think spirituality is something that's necessarily needed, throughout your whole life. But I think when you're a kid, you really don't understand truly everything that's going on in life at the time. And as you live your life and you grow, it also depends how you grew up and where you grew up. But for me, now that I'm older and realizing certain things that are going on in my life, I now have more of a deeper connection with things that are taught spiritually. And so now that I can connect more with it versus when I was younger, it's something I definitely I look forward to implementing in my life a lot more and having that connection with it. So that's why I think spirituality is more so needed right now in chapter in my life versus when I was younger.
The way I've been raised and kind of grown up, spirituality in terms of finding like a higher power and maybe faith-based spirituality is not something I gravitate towards. But when it comes to maybe finding meaning or purpose in life, being hopeful, when things are fairly challenging, being kind of in the present moment, feeling at peace when I'm alone, sort of just understanding my self-worth, even meditation, therapy, all that kind of stuff, I think you can kind of group into spirituality. I'd say those things are kind of more necessary, especially at my life right now. I'm going through kind of a career transition, so understanding where I'm at from a professional standpoint, but then also a personal standpoint, and what the professional aspect means to my personal life. I think it can get hectic and out of control at times, and kind of blends in with the previous question of how I get stress, or how do I handle stress, or how does it manifest essentially. But having a strong sense of self-worth, I think, is very important in times like this, especially when things are challenging. So understanding who I am, again, what I value or what my values are, surrounding myself in a community that shares those same values, so I'm able to share my experiences, my challenges, maybe gain another perspective from friends, family. So in that sense of spirituality, I think it's more necessary than ever. I think as you get older, yeah, you do have more experience, but you still find challenges that you've never had before. So that's why I think spirituality might be more necessary at this point in my life.
It might help. Yeah. 4. Is spirituality more or less necessary during this chapter of my life? Sorry. Let's start this over. You can edit this part right here. Is spirituality more or less necessary during this chapter of my life? And then why? I would have to say, to answer that first question, yes, it is necessary part of my life. It's always been, I would say. Not really, not getting into religion or anything, just more spirituality type of thing. I do believe that you can see, God in a variety of things. When you look up into the stars, the vast galaxy, just how the planets are aligned, or just everything, nature, how things work, how our body works. I can see, spirituality for me, it's kind of like that. I could, I can separate the religion and the spirituality part with it, because I know some people could be spiritual but not necessarily religious, and I know most people put those two together, but I can separate it. But yes, I do think as I get older, spirituality plays a bigger role in my life now than when I was younger, where I would say religion was the main focus. So yes, if that helps answer that question. Maybe that was confusing. I don't know. Why spirituality? Yeah, like I said, for me, it helps me. For me, it helps me be more grounded and to have there is a purpose and a meaning to life, and that's why for me. I mean, that's just plain and simple for me. That's my why. Just the purpose in life,
Is spirituality more or less necessary in this chapter of my life? And why? Yes. I think that it has become more and more to me that having something to believe in, whether even if it's just yourself or others, it doesn't have to be a bigger being, something that you completely relinquish yourself to, but believing in something is better than nothing. There's an old thing that I've heard once or twice. It's, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall, or if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And it's very true. If you just kind of just be like, I'm just kind of bumming it, and you're just don't care, the world's not going to take care of you. Much like most people write off people that don't care and throw caution to the wind and say, that doesn't matter what happens to me. You need to stand for something. I am getting older, and when you're younger, you do believe you're slightly invincible. But as you get older, you start to realize, no, I am a small speck of dust in this big, big world and this big, big universe. And you gotta take something with you. And if that's believing in one thing or many things, you gotta do it.